It's June and the farmers markets are abundant with gorgeous fruits and vegetables. Hi, I'm Cary Kelly. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I am going to make you some salads. Vegetable, fruit-forward, colorful, flavorful, beautiful salads. And I'm going to show you 3 different salads. Any of these could be a main course, an appetizer, or a side dish. The first one that I'm going to show you is a fruit salad that has some surprising flavors in it. Then we're going to do a Mexican street corn pasta salad. You are going to love that one. And the third one is going to be a FARRO-based salad with a beautiful Thai-influenced dressing. So let's get started and do the fruits first. So this time of year, we have so many gorgeous fruits in the market. And I've prepared a fruit salad that has a very high flavor dressing on it. And as I said, a surprising ingredient I'll tell you about in a moment. But first, I want to tell you that this recipe could be made with any combination of fruits. What I encourage you to do is to go to your farmer's market and see what looks fresh. The one thing you want to think about when you're choosing your fruit is texture. So you don't want all berries, for instance, or you will just have a single texture. I have used a combination of strawberries, raspberries, similar texture, some cut up apple for a really nice crunch, some cut up mango for a softer bite, and blueberries. This makes a wonderful mouthfeel when you bite into this salad. You can get all the different flavors, different levels of sweetness, but also the texture. You know, texture is something we can often forget about and is just as important as flavor in bringing full satisfaction of a meal. So always think about texture variety when you're putting a meal together. So I have already cut up a number of my fruit here. And you can see the beautiful colors in this salad. I want to show you a couple of things that might help you. One is mango. Mango can be a little challenging to cut and prepare. It's very stringy on the inside. Unlike stone fruit that you could cut in half and scoop out the seed, it's hard to get the actual mango flesh away from the seed. So I'm going to show you how I prepare a mango. Cut the end off, stand it on its end so you can get a good grip on it, and then just run a good sharp knife down the mango so that you are removing the skin. And you might need a couple of cuts, that's okay. Just make sure you've got all the skin off because it's a very tough skin. You don't want to have any of that left. We put this aside to put in our composter. We take food to our county compost. In Alexandria, almost every county has a composter. It's a great way to get rid of your food scraps sustainably. Now what you want to do is to make cuts in your mango all the way around. You don't have to be precise on where the cuts are. This just helps it all come apart. And then do the same thing that you did with the flesh. Just cut around. If you run into that big hard seed, just redirect and go around it. And now you've got nice pieces of mango that you can cut into whatever size you want for your salad. One of the things to keep in mind when you're putting together a salad like this, it has a lot of different ingredients, is to get things more or less similar sizes. What you don't want is to take a bite of salad and have one piece so big that you can't munch on it. It's embarrassing for your guests to end up with a mouthful of food they can't chew. So cut everything in somewhat similar sizes and definitely bite size. So I would cut this in half. And now you see you have perfect pieces of mango to add to this salad. Oh, it smells so good in here. This is like summer's perfume, smelling the berries, this cantaloupe I'm about to cut into. I also want to show you my favorite way to cut a cantaloupe. Now, you can use a melon baller. Lots of people do that and have the little balls, which adds an interesting visual element to your salad. Or cut it into about this size. You don't want it any wider than this. And you can just cut right down through the curve. And you have easily removed your skin. I cut this in smaller pieces, add it to my compost bucket. Check and make sure you got all the rind off. And now cut this into bite-sized pieces to add to your salad. I love cantaloupe. It just speaks summer to me. We used to visit my great aunt in Virginia Beach when I was growing up, and every morning we had cantaloupe. So I have great memories. Food memories are just the best. I think they capture all of our senses. So we've got our cantaloupe. Now I want to tell you about that surprising ingredient. When you have a bowl of fruit, this is all sweet. Every ingredient in here is sweet. That's a lot of sweetness. You want something to cut and balance that sweetness. I'm going to do that in two ways. One of them is I'm adding radishes. Now that's a surprising thing to add to a fruit salad, but radishes have certainly a beautiful crunch, but they have a little bitterness and acidity that balances out all of that sweet fruit so nicely. And when you get a mouthful of berries and apples and suddenly this crunch of bitterness, it's pure pleasure. These are called breakfast radishes. Use any radish you find. You could even use a white radish that I bought at my Thai market. They all have a similar level of bitterness and acidity, so they all work. But here's one thing you want to do. Radishes can be quite bitter. Make sure you slice these very thin. And what this does is it brings in an element that is not overpowering. You don't want to overpower the fruit and have something that seems out of balance. You want just that little taste of bitterness. And you can see how thinly I've sliced this. You can almost see through the radish. That's what you want. And for this bowl of fruit, I would do 4 radishes. I've already got 2 in there, so I'm just going to add 2 more radishes. Again, sliced very thin. This takes a good sharp knife to get thin enough. If you have a mandolin, you can use a mandolin. But however you do it, if you can't quite get thin enough, then what I would encourage you to do is to mince it up into smaller pieces. The bottom line is you don't want a big, overwhelming bite of radish bitterness. You want a hint, and you will love it. It's a beautiful addition to this salad. Now, the pièce de la résistance is going to be the dressing on this salad. Fruit all by itself is certainly nice, but adding some more flavors, a little balance of acidity, is just going to top this off and make it a gorgeous, gorgeous big salad. We're going to start with half a cup of fresh squeezed orange juice. Oh, it's the best. Now listen, if you're on the fly and you're making this and all you have is orange juice from the bottle, that's fine. You can substitute with that. I will say it's hard to beat fresh, so if you can do that, I encourage you to. But substitutions are what cooking is all about. Don't not make it because you don't have it. So we have our orange juice. And now we're going to add a tiny bit more sweetness, but honey isn't just adding sweetness. Honey has a depth of flavor that helps enhance the sweetness of the fruit. So about 2 tablespoons of honey. This is a beautiful Hawaiian honey. Lots of local honeys can be found at your farmer's market, and they're great to use. Now, we're going to add some levels of flavor that might surprise you. The first one, and I will tell you this is one of my favorite spices, it's sumac. You may know sumac from Persian cooking. It's very common in Persian and some other parts of the Middle East. But you may not know that sumac grows all over North America and was widely used in indigenous recipes. So I love it. Sumac is a dark red berry, and when it's ground, it has this dark red color, and it's very citrusy. It's a beautiful citrusy flavor that I love to add to dressings and other foods. Now, this may surprise you, but I'm going to add about 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. If you like things really hot, add more. But be careful, even if you like it hot, you don't want to add so much cayenne pepper that it's overpowering the fruit. Fruit is a mild flavor, so you're always looking for balance. I'm adding another fruity spice that's very different. I'm adding about 1/2 teaspoon of ground coriander. Coriander, again, it's spicy, or it's a fruity ground spice, but it doesn't taste exactly like the sumac, which also is a little citrusy, but you can taste the green, almost foliage flavors in sumac. So it's a nice balance. Now, here's one that you may not have at home, but I want to share this sustainability hack with you that also adds something exciting to your pantry. This is ground orange peel. Ground citrus is also used in Middle Eastern cooking, so it's not an unusual thing to use, but you can make this at home. Whenever I use citrus, like the orange that I just juiced for this dressing, I save the peel, cut out all of the flesh, and I just leave it out in the air for about 2 to 2.5 weeks until the peeling is brittle dry. The thicker the peel, the longer it will take, but you want it to be brittle so it snaps when you bend it. And then put it in a coffee grinder. And this is so aromatic, and something interesting happens when you dry out the peel. There's almost an umami element along with the orange. So it's not like pure orange like the zest is. It has more depth. And this is really great to add into dressings, marinades, stir it into a soup. I love to put it in tomato sauce. Orange and tomato sauce is a great combination. Okay, so we have got the flavor and acidity basis for our dressing. And now what we want to do is whisk in a bit of olive oil. And I have a beautiful fruity Spanish olive oil here. And you want to emulsify. You drizzle it slowly because you want this oil to emulsify with the other liquids, in this case the orange juice. You're not going to get a thick dressing, but you do want it to be well mixed. Now what you want to do is have a little taste. And let's see what we need here. Oh my goodness, that is so good. You can taste the orange, the fruitiness of the olive oil, just enough of that cayenne pepper. The only thing we're missing is a touch of salt, which helps bring out the sweet flavor of your fruit. So let's add a little bit of sea salt, and then we're going to dress this fruit salad. I would serve this fruit salad as a starter at a luncheon. It would be wonderful to have this salad before a creamy quiche would be delicious. Look at that. You can see the bits of sumac dressing the top of that fruit. This is going to be so good. I can't resist having a little taste. Let me get a dish. If you could smell this, I tell you, it smells like summer. Look at these gorgeous strawberries. And a little bit of radish, raspberry, and a little radish. It's delicious. This salad will be a keeper, I promise you. It'll keep in the refrigerator for up to a week. After that, some of the fruits will start to get a little mushy. So you want to make enough that you'll eat up in a week. Have it to accompany all your lunches and dinners, and you'll be tasting summer with every bite. Now we're going to move on to a much more savory salad, a Mexican street corn pasta salad. So in Mexico, they have a very popular item in street carts called elote. And that is roasted corn that has lime, some cotija cheese, and a little bit of mayonnaise, believe it or not. And it's, people just buy it and munch into it, and it's so delicious. So I designed a salad to capture the flavors of that very popular street food in Mexico, with the addition of pasta and some lettuce for crunch. So let's dig into this Mexican salad. A couple of ingredients that require some prep that add so much flavor. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is roasted red pepper. So this is just one red bell pepper, and I put it on a foil lined baking sheet and roasted it at 475 for about 15 minutes until it looked like this and was blackened. So first I cut the pepper in half, took the seeds and membranes out, and then put each half cut side down on the baking sheet. So as soon as you see it get a little blackened, pull it out of the oven, put it in a bowl and cover it. Cover it with a damp towel or a piece of beeswrap. And what that will do, the steam will release the skin and it peels right off. So I'm going to show you that. Just peel the skin off and you have this gorgeous, unctuous roasted pepper. I just love this flavor and it's so easy to do. It's a great addition, either hot or cold. So it's wonderful in salads, or roast and stir it into hot pasta dishes. So make sure you get all that skin off. Again, it peels off really easily. And then we're going to dice this, and this will be an addition to our salad. You can already start to imagine, I think, how good these flavors are going to be. We're going to cook some corn in the skillet and get sort of a roasted flavor on that corn. Yum. You're going to love this salad. So I've got all the skin off. The skin gets sort of papery. So once it's roasted, you really want to get that skin off. It's not a very pleasant texture in the mouth. So we have that done. I'll just rinse my hands, and we are going to dice up this pepper. And then we will just set this aside while we get the corn ready. So this, just a rough chop is fine for this. It doesn't need to be any particular shape. I do think it's nice to get smaller bites. I think they're more pleasant to eat. It's a very soft pepper, and so it's a soft pepper with a very strong flavor. So I think little bites go a long way with this pepper. So dice that up. It's so soft, it's so smooth, but oh my goodness, you can smell it. You can just smell, roasting brings out the natural sugars, and just the pepperiness is more pronounced. It's just beautiful. We're going to prep our corn. So you need 3 ears of corn, uncooked. This is just a raw ear of corn. And what you want to do is remove the kernels. I have a handy little gadget called a corn zipper. If you can find one of these, it's great. If you can't, a good old knife works for everything in the kitchen. So I'll demo both for you so you can see how this zipper works, and just pulls the kernels right off. But something that's very important in this, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little glistening of moisture. That is called the corn milk. It is literally a little bit white. And you want to go down deep enough. It's not like citrus where they tell you to avoid the right part, the pith, because it's so bitter. With corn, you want to get as close to the cob as you can because you want to capture that milk. It has such good corn flavor. If you're using a knife, just go down the side. Don't worry about going too deep. Whatever you can cut off is what you want. There are a few more kernels there. You want all of that good corn flavor. And this time of year, when the corn, that Silver Queen corn from Delaware, is nice and fresh. So take all this corn, and we are going to saute this in a skillet with some beautiful flavors that are very common in Mexican cooking. You're going to love this flavor. So we'll bring this over to the stove and get this ready. I'm using a cast iron skillet. And I like to use cast iron. Well, I will tell you I do 90% of my cooking in cast iron. And what people love about cast iron is once it gets hot, it retains heat. And so it cooks things beautifully. You always want to heat an empty skillet. Never put oil in when it's cold or you will burn your oil. And as you probably know, burnt oil, any kind of oil, once it burns is toxic. Those fumes are toxic. So we're letting this pan heat up a little bit. And I've got 1 teaspoon of caraway seed and 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. I like using the seeds in this because you get a more pronounced flavor. What we want to do is toast them first. So you're going to put them in your skillet, let that sit on the fire until you begin to smell it. Once it starts to give off aroma, it's ready, and we're going to add a little olive oil and our corn. It's starting to give off some aroma. I can't tell you how good this smells. These are such warm spices that are known in Latin American cooking, these nice, pungent, warm spices. With this creamy corn, it's just going to be the best combination. So this is going to take over a medium-high heat. This is going to take about 5 minutes. Again, as soon as you start to get the waft of aroma, add your olive oil and corn. So we're going to put just about a tablespoon of olive oil. You don't need much. You can see those seeds are glistening. And now we're going to add our corn. Hear that sizzle? You want your pan on about medium. Again, cast iron gets very hot. Look at the bits of seeds in there. You can smell now the sweetness of the corn with these seeds. Oh my goodness. We're going to add a little salt at this point. I'd say about a teaspoon of salt. And saute this until your corn starts to brown. And then it's ready. Now this is something you're going to want to do ahead of time because you want your corn to be cooled when you put it in the salad. You've got pasta that's room temperature, but you've also got lettuce we're adding to the salad, and you don't want the hot corn to wilt your lettuce. So get this nice and browned. And then let it cool for about 20 minutes till it's at least room temperature. So we're going to let this corn cook, and then we're going to start prepping our dressing for this delicious salad. As with any salad, the dressing is the icing on the cake. So we are going to make a dressing with some wonderful Mexican flavors in it, pulling together that caraway, that cumin, and the other flavors that we're adding to this dish. The first thing that we're going to add is the juice of 1 lime, or about a tablespoon. And then I have a spice that's very common in Latin American cooking called Tajin. You could substitute this for cayenne pepper. This has a little bit of heat. It also has some other flavors in it. So if you don't have this, put in some cayenne pepper, maybe another little dash of ground cumin, and some lime zest. And you could pretty much substitute the flavors that are in here. We're going to add a little salt. So we've got our lime juice, our spices. And now we're going to add, for the creaminess, mayonnaise. And we've got about a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. And you're going to whisk this up. Now I will tell you, when you'll start, you'll see it looks like a curdled mess. It looks like it's curdled, but it's really not. Just keep whisking, keep whisking, keep whisking, and you'll get a nice, smooth, creamy dressing that has amazing flavors. So we're going to put this aside. We'll give it another little whisk when we're ready to dress our salad. But it's a simple dressing with so much flavor in it. Now we're going to start prepping the other ingredients of our salad. So we have farfalle pasta. Farfalle basically is bow tie pasta. You can use any shape of pasta. However, for this salad, I would stick to something that is a smaller bite. I wouldn't use a long pasta, fettuccine or spaghetti or linguine. I wouldn't use that in this salad. But you could use orecchiette, any of the other smaller bite size. The farfalle is my favorite. Part of that is visual. I love the bow ties, but the size is perfect. Along with this, we are going to add some chopped romaine lettuce. The chopped romaine makes it a salad. It is crunchy. It's wonderful with the pasta. The textures in this salad are wonderful. It's really going to be a pleasure to eat. I'm going to check on the corn, make sure that's cooking and cooling. So we're beginning to layer our salad. Our corn is cooling. It's going to be ready in a moment. And then just begin to layer the flavors in. We'll toss it so you don't have to be too particular here. We've got our pasta. We've got our romaine lettuce. I have halved about 10 cherry tomatoes. You could use grape tomatoes, or if you only have large tomatoes, just cut them in bite-sized pieces. That will work just fine.
It smells good.
It smells really good, doesn't it? Our corn has cooled. I've added that and given it a nice toss. Look at the pretty colors in here, but we are not finished yet. Now we're going to add those roasted red peppers, those delicious roasted red peppers. That adds more beautiful color to this salad. And now we're going to add our dressing, another whisk, just to make sure it's all emulsified. We will put that over the salad. Another toss. Look at the beautiful color on this, the creaminess. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to bite into this. A couple of more things to dress the salad to make it just perfect. Cotija cheese. It's a crumbly Mexican cheese. Lots of things you can easily substitute. What you want is a firm, crumbly cheese. Feta cheese is a perfect substitute. Gorgonzola could be a little strong, but you could do that. Goat cheese could work. But I would say if you can't find the Mexican cheese, go for feta. Look how pretty that is. Cilantro. What would a Mexican salad be without beautiful fresh cilantro? So I'm going to cut some of this cilantro. I love the taste of cilantro. I do realize many people don't, so if you are not a cilantro lover, use parsley. But the fresh herbs are a really nice addition, so parsley works. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add lime zest. That fresh lime flavor with this salad is just the finish it needs. Doesn't that look delicious? This salad could be made into a main course by adding roast chicken, sliced roast chicken on it. You could add tofu. I would saute and get crispy tofu. Would be a great vegan protein to add. You could even add a blackened fish to this salad. Eat it just like it is or add whatever protein you like and you've got a wonderful, very savory and filling Mexican street corn pasta salad. So let's have a taste. I'll get some corn, a little tomato in my bite, and some of that beautiful pasta. This is really good. I love the corn with the caraway and the cumin. That warmth of those spices comes through. The creaminess and brightness of this dressing with that little bit of lime zest. You're going to love this salad. Our third salad today has some other unusual flavors. By the end of today, you're going to have so many ideas of what to do with summer vegetables. For this third salad, we are going to use FARRO as the base. FARRO is a grain high in protein, So this is a really, really healthy salad. And I love the crunch of farro. Farro is very easy to cook. You do soak it for about 20 minutes first. You can see how toothsome they are. They have a wonderful crunch to them. And then you boil them until they're al dente. I have cooked and cooled this farro. You could eat it hot in place of pasta or any other grain, rice. But this is nice and cooled. It's going to be the base of our salad. So again, the icing on the cake of any salad is the dressing. So what I'm going to start with today is the dressing for this salad, and then we will assemble it. I've prepared some wonderful flavors and textures to make for a good vegetable-based meal. So I am using Thai flavors. I love Southeast Asian cooking. And I thought Thai flavors would be so good to pull this whole salad together. So I'm starting our dressing with 1/8 cup of cider vinegar and juice of a lime. To this, I am adding a teaspoon of coconut sugar. So coconut sugar has a flavor not quite as molasses-like as brown sugar, but a more depth of flavor than cane sugar. And it's a very healthy, if you can call any sugar healthy, it has a nice base coming from the coconut. So a little coconut sugar we have stirred into this, and then a few spices. I have minced ginger, a minced red chili pepper, and some finely minced lemongrass. Now, I'm going to talk to you about those ingredients while they marinate in the vinegar base for a little bit. This is lemongrass. I buy lemongrass from the Thai market on Columbia Pike in Northern Virginia if you're nearby. Most Thai markets will have lemongrass. Sometimes it's frozen. This is an optional ingredient. If it's too hard to find, leave it out. The lime juice brings a nice flavor of acidity. So if you don't have this, just disregard it. But if you do have lemongrass, it's a very woody plant. You can't bite into lemongrass. So what you want to do with this is really, really finely chop this lemongrass. Lemongrass is wonderful to stir into things that you're cooking, stews or soups or sauces, or as the Thai do, pound it into a curry. But if you're going to use it as I am today, raw, you want to chop it as finely as you possibly can. Then you'll get a little bite of flavor without having to chew through the woodiness of the lemongrass. So as you can see, that's a very fine chop, and that's what you want. The pepper I use is a red bird's eye chili. I remove the seeds from chilies because I prefer not to have that much heat in my dressing. That's optional. If you like that much heat, you can leave some or all of the seeds in. Otherwise, you just cut it down the middle, scrape out the seeds, and finally chop that chili pepper. And the last thing we want to add to this is garlic. But before the garlic, I want to tell you a great little hack for ginger. So buying a whole root of ginger is more than a lot of people will use while it's still good. So whenever I make a visit to the Thai market, I buy 2 or 3 beautiful ginger roots, and I finely chop them, put them in a jar and freeze them. And they will keep indefinitely. I do a kind of a fine dice on these, and that way I can mince it more finely if I need to for whatever I'm making. But that's a great way. Just label your jar and keep it in the freezer. And that's what I pulled out to go into our dressing. Then the last thing we want to add to this is garlic, because garlic makes everything taste better. And the garlic should be finely minced also. So to prep your garlic, sometimes you open it and you see a little green stem. That can be quite bitter. So pull that out with the paper and then just start mincing your garlic. Garlic is very sticky, so you have to keep manipulating it into a little pile to chop it. I like it finely chopped in a salad because it's raw. and you don't want too big a bite of raw garlic. So keep moving this around, chopping it until you get very fine pieces of garlic. And then it'll be ready to add to your dressing. It's a wonderful aromatic, and garlic is used in Southeast Asian cooking ubiquitously because it's such a nice, almost spicy balance to honey that's sometimes used, in our case, the coconut sugar. Now the final ingredient is oil. I am using an untoasted sesame oil. Not all that easy to find. So if you can't find an untoasted sesame oil, I would use a neutral oil like grapeseed oil. I don't think toasted sesame oil would be great in this recipe. It's a very strong flavor. But at the end of the day, flavor comes down to what you like. But I'm using a more neutral flavored oil. My favorite way to mix up a dressing is to put it in a mason jar or any kind of jar and give it a good, vigorous shake until you've emulsified. And you can see the oil and vinegar are combined. That is your beautiful dressing. Now we are going to assemble our salad. I have the FARRO. I am mixing in, this is a cup of uncooked FARRO that comes out to a couple of cups cooked. I'm going to put about a cup of loosely packed spinach, about half a cup of radicchio, a few steamed snow peas. Again, great for texture. You could cut these in half if you wanted to. Blueberries. And that is a little under a pint of blueberries. Look at the beautiful colors in this salad. The red from the radicchio, the blueberries. It's such a pretty salad. The other thing I'm going to add for coolness and crunch is cucumber. I want to remove the seeds from the cucumber. Cucumber seeds don't have a great flavor. They really don't add anything. So I like to scrape those out. I cut the cucumber in half this way and just take a spoon, run it right down the middle. Voila, your seeds are gone. I do like to leave the skin on my cucumber, but that is entirely up to you. It would be delicious without the skin too. There's a lot of nutrients in the skin, and I like the added crunch. So I'm going to do these in a nice small bite size of cucumber. And I like to add one whole cucumber to this salad. Beautiful. Next, we're going to add mango. We have the blueberries in there. Putting this mango with the blueberry is gorgeous. Mango and lime is a marriage made in heaven, and we've got lime juice in our dressing. So as I showed you earlier, just take your knife, cut around to remove the skin from this mango. And then we'll get the flesh off, cut this into bite-sized pieces. I like to cut the mango into approximately the same size as the blueberries. This is going into our compost. Let's cut the flesh off of this mango. Okay, now let's cut this into bite-sized pieces. I love the smell of mango, and I'm starting to get wonderful aromas coming off the ginger, the lime. The yellow color is beautiful with the blue of the blueberries. Look at that. Look at the colors in there, and you can just imagine how good these flavors are. I'm going to toss this now to get this FARRO combined with the greens and the fruit. And then we're going to put our topping on this salad, and that is toasted unsweetened coconut. So I just took unsweetened flaked coconut. I put it in a dry cast iron skillet and on medium to medium high heat, let that toast. It only takes 5 or 6 minutes. It's nice and brown. It adds a beautiful crunchiness to it. And now fresh Thai basil. That is a beautiful addition to this salad. I think before we put on the basil, we're going to dress our salad and toss it. Just pour this on. Give it a nice toss to distribute that dressing through all those farro grains. Oh, if you could smell this. It smells as good as it looks. And now we're going to take a few leaves of basil. And what we're going to do is kind of curl them up and start to chop. And it gives you a julienne or little strips of basil when you curl it up like that. And look at that. Basil, lime, ginger, coconut. It's the taste of Asia. This is a beautiful salad full of protein and ready to serve. I hope you've enjoyed our salad show today. These are 3 very different ways to showcase produce of the season. Salads are open for interpretation. So again, whatever you find at the farmer's market, different fruits. I think peaches in that fruit salad would be beautiful when they're in season. So start experimenting a little bit or just use these recipes, which can be found at CaryInTheKitchen.com. Let's have a taste of this final salad from today's episode. So I'm making sure I get some of that crunchy farro, all the ingredients. Oh my goodness, blueberries, cucumbers. The dressing is wonderful. I can taste the lime. I can taste the ginger. I've got some of this coconut. This might be my new favorite salad. I hope it's yours too. Thank you for being in my kitchen today.